Welcome to Bleav in 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav in 76ers is presented by betonline.ag.
BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball to NHL and UFC, BetOnline is the number one sports betting source for the new year. From touchdowns to three-pointers and hat tricks, BetOnline has you covered on every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Want to make some quick cash during the rest of the NFL playoffs? There's still time to embrace your inner underdog. Over the last 4 weeks, we have given 15 selections and have cashed on 13 of them, predicting higher or lower on multiple different player statistics. So we are ready to continue this heater into the conference championship and beyond. So if you've yet to download the Underdog app, do so now and get free cash. Click the link in the description or use promo code CHIEFCONCERNS, that's one word, to claim your free pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. It's conference championship weekend, so let's continue to keep the good vibes in 2025. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav in 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash, your legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow, and my brother Teja Dash. So this is our last show. Two big wins, two big ones. Cleveland, Chicago, Sixers making a surge, baby, making a surge, slowly but surely. But yeah, got a lot to get into in today's episode. But before we do, of course, as we get closer to trade deadline in a couple of weeks, there's going to be stuff that's going to be coming out. We're going to talk about one that a lot of fans, we asked you guys to send in questions. I had one question in my inbox. It was all about Yabu, and we'll get to that in the episode today. But I did want to bring up this report from Vince Goodwill of Yahoo Sports. Quote, I've heard that Philly could quietly be a suitor for Jimmy Butler. Theoretically, it would be a Jimmy Butler for Paul George swap. I Bleav that Embiid is pushing for them to reacquire Jimmy Butler. Guys, what do you think about this one?
I don't really, to be honest with you, I Bleav that, like, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't go after him, and I wouldn't be surprised if we did. I mean, I think it ultimately comes down, in my opinion, to what they feel like they're getting from Paul and what they feel like they'll get from him the next 3 years. I think the decision will be more about that than about getting Jimmy Butler. I think they're comfortable with Jimmy because he's been there, maybe something that they're motioning for, secretly or quietly. But I think ultimately it comes down to Paul George's play and Paul George's contract if a decision is made.
If you heard that we swapped George for Butler, how much do you think of that would be more about just getting off that George contract and less about acquiring Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to say that without actually saying it. But I think
Okay.
If the move is made, I Bleav it's more about that than I mean, you get Jimmy and you have to pay Jimmy, but I think they can probably pay Jimmy, I don't know, about maybe less and fewer years. I think that he's probably hurt himself as far as getting more in more years. But I do feel that if that move is made, I would lean more on because of Paul George play and the contract than Jimmy Butler. And because I Bleav that Miami would probably take that deal, saying that we're better off kind of with this guy than the other guy because of maybe the off the court stuff. So it could work out for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and then there's the second component, which is the Embiid pushing for components. It's like, man, I wish Embiid just played more rather than asking for different players. Like, I mean, as not living up to George's contract. I know he hasn't, but he's been more available than Embiid has this year. So it's like it's not a basketball fit problem. So I don't know if they've even had enough time to know it doesn't work. It's almost kind of unfair if that's true. Where it's completely speculation. If it's true that Embiid is saying that, it's just ridiculous to me.
Yeah, I don't. That's the part. That's the unknown. We're saying that this is about Joel saying this, but somebody wanted this to be out. Somebody wanted this to be out, whether it's true or not. Somebody wanted this narrative out there. That's the part that, like, we really don't know. We won't want to run with it because I'm sure if they asked Joel, he would deny it. So, but somebody wanted it out there. I don't know if it could be stuff, we don't know, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could have been. So assuming that, let's assume that it's some truth to it. I don't know how a player could put that out. So from my perspective, when I looked at the move, that maybe this is what the Sixers would like to do, not necessarily Joel would like to do. And I felt if the Sixers were to do it, it would be more about Paul's play, and then maybe how they feel about him since he's been there, and maybe his contract more so than I think it would be more about that. I think they're fine with Jimmy Butler and would be content with that in place of Paul. But where the expectations were, I don't think this would be a conversation.
What about a toss-up? Less money, same years. Who would you rather have, Butler or George?
Well, I mean, that's kind of your thing. I think
fine. Forget the money part. Same years.
For me, I like both of those guys. Yeah. I like both of those guys. Based on his history, the last 4 or 5 seasons, I'm not sure if putting Jimmy with Maxey is healthy, in my opinion.
Okay.
Right now.
I mean, yeah, it's one toxic, volatile situation after another with Butler.
I think it's fine with Joel. I'm just not sure how it would be with Maxey.
I mean, think about it. Butler wasn't even here in Philly for that long, and there's still 3 or 4 stories about yelling in the locker room and like fighting with like team and coaching staff and yelling matches. And he was only here for like 4 months. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I said I wouldn't. I'm not sure I would do that.
Bad influence, yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Especially for a guy has a player, how he's going to be. I just think is a risky move. Very risky move. It's one that, if now you're just talking about pure basketball, I believe it can work. But if otherwise, I think it's a risky move. But I must say, whether you get Jimmy and you keep Paul, Joel needs to play for it all to work.
That's kind of what I was alluding to earlier. It's like, if Embiid's giving his opinion, it's like, get out there, get out there, then give your opinion. See if this works first before we start shifting again. Like, because without you, it doesn't work anyway. So Butler, George, Ingram, it doesn't matter. We're not going anywhere.
Again, sample size of 10 games with Maxey, Paul George, and Embiid completing games with each other, 7 and 3, and 10 games with each other. So it's pretty good so far. We just need to see it more before we start making moves. But again, this could be just a fodder that someone put out there. All right, so now we're going to go to the topic that our fans, went to our inbox big time to ask about probably the fan favorite this year. The guy who's probably been the most consistently playing this year of all the guys we've had. But so Mark Stein prompted a slew of our subscribers and followers to reach out to us on X, wanting to get our takes on the report that the Sixers are getting multiple trade offers for Guerschon Yabusele. Playoff-bound teams are reportedly really interested in him. The Sixers, I am told, love Guerschon Yabusele. League sources say that Philadelphia has already received multiple trade offers from playoff-bound teams for Yabusele. The belief is that the Sixers want to gauge results over the next week plus before firming up their trade deadline approach. I know we're going to hear about a lot more rumors surrounding trades with the team over the next few weeks, but most of the fans who reached out do not want us to deal Yabu at all. They feel he's the fourth best player on the team. But if you guys woke up tomorrow and saw that Yabusele was a dealt, how would you guys feel?
I would be disappointed because I think he's shown, but I think I wouldn't be surprised. The nature of this business, like guys get moved, especially guys that are playing well on very likable contracts. Mm-hmm. So I think it would be a move that wouldn't, like I said, wouldn't surprise me because of the situation, the way he's played, and the way his contract is to happen. I think ultimately it'll come down to, if you move him, what do you get in return? That's what it'll be about. Whether you get something in return that's could be more beneficial, either immediately or in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, on the surface for the player part of it, I just wouldn't feel good about it, just because he's exactly what we've said we've wanted and needed at the 4 position. He's outplaying his contract, averaging 10-5 on the year for 40% three-point shooting. Last 12 games, 12, 6, and 3, and 40% three-point shooting. The only way I would be okay with it would be if I knew and it was confirmed that we couldn't re-sign him in the offseason. But it seems like there's a mutual interest. I mean, he's going to Eagles games, having a good time on the floor. He seems to be getting along on the team. He doesn't look miserable out there. All good signs. The other thing, too, with the whole thing, just in general, I get the whole, like, well, we're not doing anything this year, like sell, but like this team is locked in. I mean, between Maxey, Embiid, and George, you have like $150 million. So, and they're basically none of them are tradable except for Maxey, and he's our youngest piece, so he's not going anywhere. So we're pretty much locked in. So I get that we might sell a partial sell for this season. It's not like we're like getting rid of it's not a fire sale though, right? Because we're still built to win now, whether maybe not this year for whatever reason, because of injuries and bad luck, but we're going to have the same team next year. We don't have a lot of wiggle room. We have 3 guys that equal 160 million. So I don't get getting rid of guys on favorable deals that we might be able to sign on the cheap. That doesn't make sense for me because what are we doing? Now, if you were to tell me the whole Jimmy Butler thing, and then we let Jimmy Butler walk or something, or try to trade him in a year or in the offseason, I don't know. That'd be different because we're trying to shed future money. But what's the point of shedding money for this season other than to save luxury dollars? I don't get it.
Would the Yabusele trade, would that, if we do that, and let's say our record's right about the same as it is right now, would that signal a white flag to you guys? Waving the white flag on the season if we trade Yabusele, because he's been one of our, like Teja mentioned, stats. He's been one of the most consistent guys on our team, been one of the bright spots. Obviously, the fans love him, hence why they're asking questions about him for us. Would that signal a white flag on the season for you?
It depends on what you get back. I think if you're trying to move him, you're just getting graphics and stuff like that, then I think if you're not trying to make the team better immediately, then yes, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree. If he's packaged together with a bunch of guys for another player that we're trying to get in before we go into the luxury next year, and hard capped, next year, then that makes sense to me. If he's just given away for a future pick, that's a white flag move for sure.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, fans. We We have to wait and see if we do what we get for Yabusele if we do trade him. But I hope we don't. So I'm with our fans on that one. All right. So next topic here. Good. Another Joel Embiid update. So according to David Aldridge, the legend, David Aldridge, quote, the Sixers believe that Embiid's knee will not require surgery and that he can return to the court sometime sooner rather than later. And they don't believe that extended rest for Embiid is the way to go. To the contrary, they think he does better when he's engaged in trying to ramp up to return to action. So that begs the question, would you rather Embiid come back sooner but miss time in between the games he plays, or have him sit longer, allowing him to play on a more consistent basis?
This question is tough. And the reason why it's tough is because I don't have any confidence that the longer he sits, the more they have confidence in that. So I really don't know. I just think you play when you can play right now. I really would say you play whenever you can play. Because I don't believe what we've witnessed since March, whatever, is that City now hasn't made it much better.
No.
So play when you can play.
I almost compare him sitting out longer. I compare like those odds to what they say about the lottery. Like the more tickets you buy, you don't get any better odds in winning. It's like the longer Embiid sits out, there's no higher chance of it coming back for longer. He can come back for one game and miss another week. He could hurt it getting up in the morning and then be out for another 2 weeks. It's like he doesn't do anything. If you asked me that before the season started, that would have been my answer. Get right, give me a solid month off, and then like come back for the season, and that you should be good from there on out. But now I don't know what's right or wrong anymore. Like after this season, it's just there's no good answer. I mean, I have written down in my note was play when you can. Just exactly what you said. Play when you can. It's a day-to-day. He is day-to-day for the rest of the season. So play that night. If you can, play that night. Don't think about the next game or future at this point.
Did him, I don't know if you guys saw the viral video from yesterday. Joel Embiid was at practice. So he has been practicing, and they've ruled him out for tonight's game and tomorrow's game, but he has been practicing. He was doing handstands on the basketball court yesterday. That's got to, it's got to give you some hope and optimism that the sooner rather than later can be as soon as Friday against Jokic. Does handstand give you optimism, Eric?
I mean, if he played basketball like that, it would be hope.
I mean, I don't think the handstand has any bearing on his knee.
Yeah, I don't put anything into that.
But it's, in my opinion, it's bad optics. That's all. That'd be like you calling in sick and then your job seeing you like out and about that day. Like someone from your office is picking up lunch and they sees you like, at an arcade. I mean, you could be sick at an arcade, but like, does that look good? No, it looks terrible. Like, why are you here if you're sick, right? Like you shouldn't. So like if you can't play and you haven't been able to play in weeks, doing handstands, just, I don't know. It just doesn't look great. Wasn't it Embiid like a long time ago who he was out for a while and like people got mad because he was on stage dancing at a concert? Wasn't that him?
I believe so, yeah.
Everyone's like, man, your knee looks pretty good right now.
All right, it is different though.
Yeah.
I mean, is it? Before
basketball dancing on a stage. I mean, come on.
I'll tell you why it's a little different for him. Because yes, most guys will get injured playing in the game. He gets injured resting. So you're telling me dancing on stage does nothing about his knee? Really? He gets hurt when he's not doing any, when he's like resting games. So like dancing and stuff, like I don't know, like is that nothing for him? I think that is a big deal for him at this point. I think anything's a big deal for him at this point.
Did you just say he gets injured resting?
I did. He's the only guy I've seen re-injure something while being out for injury management. I mean,
you said that.
How is that even possible? Injury management and you re-injure something? That should be like the opposite. That's like your car's transmission blowing when it's sitting in your garage. How is that a thing?
Well, that just goes to the whole transparency of the injury.
Yeah.
That's
the frustration. I mean, not everything I said.
Thing is, someone's not being totally honest. That would be the thing.
Yeah. So hopefully we do see him. I know we're not going to see him tonight or tomorrow night. I'll tell you what, we're going to get when we do our schedule release show next year. When we talk about all the nationally televised games, we're going to get like 10, we're going to get like 10 games next year. I think they've already had to flex out one of our games, have a national spot. Every national game we've played so far this year, I think one or two of our stars have been missing. So yeah, they're going to get us good next year.
10. I don't think we deserve double digits. I wouldn't bet on us with double digit games.
Yeah. After this season, yeah, never again.
Yeah, man, we'll get some games because we're Philadelphia. We'll get some games, man.
Sure.
We got good fan support and a lot of people watching, but they'll get some games.
Yeah. It'll dwindle though
because they'll get games against. But what's going to happen is you'll get games against really good opponents.
Yeah. Yep. They better have another good alternate game that night to be able to switch to at halftime if we get blown out. But then again, you have games like the Cleveland game. So, I don't know anymore. It's just random every game.
Very random. All right. Now we're going to get to our game picks. So back to back. And like we mentioned, no Embiid, at least for these two games tonight and tomorrow, possibly Friday against the Nuggets. We'll see. But tonight, Sixers, nationally televised game. Will be on TNT. Lakers will be traveling to Philadelphia. 76ers opened up as a 3.5-point underdog. Now they are a 4-point underdog at home against the Lakers. I believe Gabe Vincent is not playing tonight, and Rui is a game-time decision for the Lakers.
I think we're going to beat the Lakers. So I think we'll cover. That's a game, national televised game. People, the Phillies, Sixers, Lakers, guys will always get up for that. If we can somehow slow down Anthony Davis, we can win the game. So I would say I'm gonna go with the heart and say we win the game.
That's nice. Eric's gonna go hard. I'll go head. And I'll say I'll say a little heart in there. We lose a close one. How about that? We lose by like 4. It's one of those.
So you have Sixers covering then.
What's the spread again?
4.
Oh, it's right there. Oh man, they're not stupid. Yeah, I'll say it's 4. I'll say 4. Yeah, I'll say we push.
Nice. There's 2 covers here. Good stuff.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow night, the back-to-back, we will be hosting the Sacramento Kings. That was a game that we gave up about 3 weeks ago. We had the game up until the last 3 minutes. We kind of collapsed. Who do you guys have against Sacramento tomorrow night?
We were also pretty injured for that game too, right?
We had PG and Maxey.
Oh. Okay. Did they finish? Did PG finish that game? Okay.
I say the Kings. I say we don't win the game because we'll have guys out. But that's the trend that I've been seeing. I've been witnessing.
I think we lose tonight and win tomorrow and I have no in-game analysis on that other than a lot of our victories didn't make a lot of sense. So I think I'm totally going to be thrown off here and expect us to lose and we actually win the game. Because if I was doing hardcore analysis on the Cavs game, I wouldn't have picked us winning that either. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's not much logic to these games sometimes. And Kings, do play up and down. They're not a very consistent team. So that's the kind of game if they just play a little down and our guys get hot that game, Maxey gets hot, is jacking up and hitting 38-foot three-pointers, and some of our other guys step up and we get one of those balanced efforts of guys, 4 or 5 guys in double figures, we can beat them.
Yeah, and as of right now, we're 1.5 games back from that 10 spot for the play-in. So,
and Chicago's pretty much tanking. They pretty much made it known that they're going to do a fire sale themselves. So, it's up for grabs at this point. So that'll probably keep us in it, which means Yabusele will probably stay.
Yeah, although I think Chicago did beat Denver last night. So
again, nothing makes sense, and we just beat them.
Yeah, and they got dominated by Denver. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But all right, well, speaking of Denver, we'll be previewing the Denver game on Friday as the Sixers will be playing against the Nuggets, and hopefully Embiid's return game against Jokic. So be ready for that on Friday, guys. But that does it for us. Everybody enjoyed the show. We'll see you guys on Friday. Take it easy, fellas.
All right, fellas.